You are listening to Radio Ramadan 365 podcasts.
Welcome to chapter 25. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Emptying. In this chapter, we write about the process of the dhikr. Many listeners will be unfamiliar with this. Could you explain the process and indeed the benefits?
So clearly there's the word means to remember. And there are many approaches to dhikr. There's dhikr which is loud, like what we do in the Darqawi, Darqawiyah, and then there's dhikr which is silent, like the Naqshbandis do. Your salah is dhikr. In fact, so what is the essence of dhikr? What are you trying to achieve with dhikr? What does it actually mean to remember? So dhikr of Allah, hey? Dhikrullah. What does it mean to remember Allah? Does it mean to sort of conjure up an image of the word Allah in my consciousness? Is that what dhikr is? What does remembering mean? And I don't think that's what remembering means. I think remembering, is to re-experience Allah. So what I mean by this is like, so you're sitting on a chair right now.
Yeah.
And while we're talking and this nonsense is going on in front of you, how aware of you of the feeling of your backside on the chair?
I'm pretty aware of it.
Right, it's because I referred to it.
Yeah. When you said it, I was right aware of it.
The moment I said it, a moment prior to that?
Not so much.
You would not have been aware of the feeling of your backside on the chair.
No.
Are you aware of the feeling of your right foot on the floor before I say it?
No, but I know my feet are on the floor.
Yeah, but only subsequently.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So there are these experiences that we're having that unless we bring our attention to the experience,
that's right,
it is not experienced. Do you know what I mean? It is your attention somewhere else.
Yeah.
You are remembering your backside. You bring the member back. You are remembering your foot when I refer to it.
Yes.
You are taking your attention to something which is there. That's what remembering means. All right. Remembering Allah means to take your attention back to an experience of His proximity. All right. It is not reminding yourself of a word. How useful is that? That's not useful at all. Then you may just as well say habla, 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 habla. There's no usefulness at all. But the activity, the remembering, is an activity like me speaking about your foot or speaking about your backside on the chair. It is an activity that brings your attention back to something that is there. An experience that is palpable, that is there. That is what dhikr is supposed to do. It is supposed to not remind you of something that might have happened, to bring your attention back to an experience which is there. Because proximity is always there. It cannot not be there. As we've said before, we've agreed this. If it wasn't there, you would technically be dead. And since you aren't dead, I have to assume that it is still there. No. So, so His proximity is there, but we're not aware of His proximity. Our attention is elsewhere. So remembering means bringing our attention back to that experience of His proximity. Now, how does dhikr help? There's two classes of dhikr. There's loud dhikr and quiet dhikr. We can call them muraqabah or loud dhikr. Now, so I'm now speaking on the basis of what I've experienced and sort of cultivated in my life over the years. You know, how dhikr works for me.
Mm.
When you do loud dhikr, you are basically projecting your voice into the world.
Mm.
You do it with commitment. You do it with force. You know that Allah is outwardly separate. We said Allah is inwardly proximate, which has to mean that He's outwardly removed. Allah is on the other side of the sky. He's beyond the beyond outwardly.
Mm.
He's closer than close inwardly. He's beyond the beyond outwardly. And you're calling on that because you're speaking outwardly when you're doing loud dhikr, which means you don't whisper. That's not useful. You put everything you have into it. It's like you are calling on. It's like an exhortation. It's like you're calling out on that, the one who's beyond the clouds. And you do it with everything you've got, and you pump everything into it. You empty your lungs with every repetition of the dhikr. You do it as powerfully as you can, you know. The effect of that, amazingly, because you're making a lot of noise, is that your inner noise quietens down. And the reason for this is that internal dialogue is still dialogue. And dialogue, like language, cannot be sustained without breath. It needs aspiration. And what you're doing by putting everything that you have into this dhikr is that you're literally taking the noise that's on the inside and you're expelling it. It's like literally a cathartic experience. You're emptying yourself out. You do dhikr with the intention to empty yourself.
Mm.
So the point of dhikr is not so much the dhikr itself, because it is a vehicle. The point of dhikr is what happens to you immediately after the dhikr. If you've done a dhikr properly, if you've done it with a sense of commitment and engagement, like I'm indicating now, putting all of your life force into this thing, emptying yourself into the dhikr, then immediately after the dhikr, the moment the dhikr stops, you are deeply, deeply, deeply silent. Now, our practice is that in that moment of deep, deep silence, there's an opening that happens. There's an awakeness, a watchfulness that comes from a sense of feeling deeply inwardly gathered. And it's therefore a vessel which allows two things in. First of all, Quran, and second of all, the dars of a teacher. If the teacher's in the same place as you are, or there's a sense of depth, then your being and the teacher's being are very close, because our boundaries have now melted. We've gone beyond, we've pumped our boundaries out. And therefore, whatever needs to be said in the room happens in the room. Very often after a good dars, people will say, how did you know? You were speaking directly to me. You know,
Yes.
because that's what happens in deep dhikr, that our beings are connected. You know, our lives are connected. We aren't separate beings anymore. We're kind of like more like one being. So that's the usefulness of loud dhikr. The loud dhikr is about literally expelling what's in you, and it happens because you do it with commitment, you do it with force, you do it with engagement. Quiet dhikr is muraqabah is exactly the opposite. So it's useful to have both of these tools in your in your toolbox. Quiet dhikr is we've spoken about it before. That's what happens when you give attention to what's actually happening in the moment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get quiet, you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting comfortably, and you're resting your attention on your breath, feeling your breath come in and go out. And you then connect any of the dhikrs that you would use. Let's just start with the divine name. Let's start with Allah. You connect it with your breath. So on the in-breath, you hear, you don't articulate, eh? You hear the first syllable of the divine name of Allah. Al as you breathe in.
Oh.
And on the out-breath, you hear La. But you don't articulate it. It's not in the mouth. You feel it. You hear it. It's like it's whispered on your breath, so that you can maintain a sense of deep quiet while this is going on inside you. The quieter the whisper becomes, the subtler the whisper becomes, the deeper you experience yourself. That you become deeply inwardly gathered then, deeply silent. So it's useful to have both of these practices. You can become kind of conversant with both loud dhikr and quiet dhikr. They both have their uses. So what we do, our practice when people go into khalwa with here on the Zawia, at the Zawia, there's the direction is stay as quiet as you can for as long as you can. I mean, when you're in the khalwa, you do nothing, and you fast, so there's very little going on. So you sit for as long as you can and go as deep as you can. But what happens when you go deep is you start having these cathartic experiences. Suddenly there's this riot going on in your head, all sorts of things starts to come out. And when you have that experience, if it gets to the point where you can no longer sit quietly, then you get up and you do a loud, powerful dhikr. Still only with the divine name, only with Allah, but you do it as long as you can, as hard as you can, to empty yourself out, because once you empty, then you sit again. So the emphasis is actually on the muraqabah rather than on the loud dhikr. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Can we do a little experiment? Can we do a little flavor of
Yes,
it?
of the silent dhikr.
Silent and then the loud one as well. So
I
those
think I
that,
might do my yeah, let's do the loud one first, shall we?
yeah, let's do the loud one first. Yeah. So
Okay.
so those that are listening can join in as well.
So we're just going to do hey Allah, hey Allah, hey Allah, hey Allah. So it's actually it's go even simpler. Hey, just hey means the living, and it's clear why this is a useful dhikr, because it's your breath, life, breath. Hey, 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 hey. Alhamdulillah. Now, if you just sit for a moment, you just feel how quiet you feel. Much quieter. So now
And is
using, yeah.
And is it the louder you do it, the more quieter you feel afterwards? Or you do it at a steady...
You can say all of that, but the more of yourself you put into it, the quieter you'll be. The more singular you are in your attention to this thing, the more focus you give it, the more you sort of really pump it, So this one is not easy to voice loud. There are others that you can voice louder because it's mainly breathed, so it's But still, it's if you really with every hey, 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 really pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, then you'll be very quiet afterwards.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a good way to start, actually. It's like, it's before, like, when you do this in Jamaat, if you do this with other people, there are three rules.
Mm.
First of all, same rhythm. So like what we did when we started, we were out of sync. One stops, you get yourself into sync. Same rhythm. The second rule is the same volume. You try as loud as you can. Everybody's putting everything in. You know. The third rule is same note. Now, this is not an issue with this particular dhikr because it's breathed. But like if you're doing La ilaha illallah, for example, you try and hit the same pitch as the person who's leading the dhikr. You don't go above them or below them. You don't make a cacophony. It must be a beautiful sound. And the reason why you're doing this is that you're trying to create the context where your self melts because you feel like you are being one with something, like the dhikr is going through you. It's like one thing going through you, connecting with the chests around you. It's like one being. It's like a string of a tasbih. The dhikr is like each individual in the circle is a person, is a bead, and the dhikr is the string. And the more you can create a sense of rapport between the people who are doing this thing, the more powerful it becomes.
Mm.
The more of an effect it has on every person.
Like that.
It's like that, yeah. No, very good. As you sit there, notice the furthest sound that you can identify. Now bring your attention to a sound in the middle distance, somewhere between the furthest one that you can identify and where you're sitting now. Now bring your attention into your body and rest your attention on the feeling coming from your right foot. Now introduce the feeling coming from your left foot so that your attention is touching both of your feet at the same time. And introduce the feeling coming from your right arm so that your attention is now holding the feeling from your arm and the feeling from both of your feet at the same time. Now, introduce the feeling coming from your left arm so that your attention is now resting on the feeling coming from all four of your limbs at the same time. Now, settle your attention on your breath. Just feel your breath come in and go out. On the in-breath, hear the first syllable of Allah's name, Al, as you breathe in. And on the out-breath, the second syllable, La. Al as you breathe in, and La as you breathe out. Just resting your attention on your breath without interfering, letting it come in, Al, letting it leave. Just whispered on your breath. Now, if you sit like this for a while, your attention will wander. The moment you notice your attention has wandered, you just bring it back to your breath. Hearing Al on the in-breath and La. Now, I'm going to recite Fatiha and just rest your attention on the sound of the recitation, like you've been resting your attention on your breath. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Sheikh Saf.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, sir.
That was very, very good. Very relaxing. Alhamdulillah.